Hello and welcome to the Max Breakthrough Science presentation. My name's Marcus Schubert. I sit on the Max International Advisory Board. I'd like to introduce our two speakers for today. First one is Mr. Michael Firth. He sits on the Max International Australian Field Advisory Board, and he'll be interviewing Miss Nicole Regato, who is a natural therapies practitioner, speaker, and also a co-author of a book called Healing from Within. Nicole practices out of clinics in Melbourne and Sydney and has clients all over the world. So Michael, I'll hand the presentation over to you.
Now, the reason we're interviewing Nicole specifically today on the Max Breakthrough Science presentation is because of her background as a natural therapies practitioner. So tell us a little bit about your background.
So I've been working in the wellbeing industry for the past 14 years, and I've studied many different modalities, and I currently have clinics in both Sydney and Melbourne.
Beautiful. So we have a question we're going to kick off the presentation with for everyone, and that is, what would happen if you could optimize the function of every living cell in your body? Now, with that in mind, what sorts of things are you seeing as a practitioner when people come in to see you?
So I'm seeing many of my clients coming in feeling tired and run down, really struggling on a daily basis with their energy levels. Clients that are stressed and anxious, and as a result of this, presenting with a lot of stress-related conditions, body aches and pains caused from inflammation, clients that are coming in half asleep, feeling tired and exhausted and experiencing what I call brain fog, just generally really unwell, feeling unhealthy and struggling with their immune function. And this is as a result of all of the toxins that our immune systems are having to process on a daily basis. Clients that are feeling depressed, and unfortunately there's been an increase in this as well that I've noticed, and many clients just feeling flat and dull and really struggling with their motivation levels on a daily basis.
I can relate to some of these things. I think some of these things are caused by overwork, burning the candle at both ends, and certainly that was what happened for me before Max came along. So to understand why some of this is happening, though, we really need to delve deeper, and we need to talk about things at a cellular level. So the human body contains, they say, about 50 trillion cells, and we create about 40 billion new cells each and every day, and every one of these cells needs four things to survive, and they are, some obvious, that is oxygen, water, various nutrients, and the one that a lot of people aren't even aware of is glutathione. So what is glutathione? Glutathione, first and foremost, is the most powerful antioxidant in every single cell of your body. Now, a lot of people know about antioxidants. In fact, the most common antioxidant most people agree on, Western, Eastern medicine, is vitamin C. Now, there are 40,000 scientific articles talking about the importance of vitamin C, but there is 110,000 relating to glutathione. Now, it goes even deeper than that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So basically, when your glutathione levels in your cells drop too low, cell death occurs. And glutathione is the only antioxidant that actually recycles itself and doesn't become another free radical when it's actually neutralizing the toxins in your body. And this is why it's often referred to as the master antioxidant. Fantastic.
It's also known as the most powerful detoxifier of your cells. So I've got a picture here of an apple with toxic. Obviously, I don't suggest you stop eating fruits and veggies, but it's just to represent, they say there is about 80,000 chemicals these days in the air around you, the water we're drinking, and the food. In fact, they say there's about 55% of chickens in supermarkets contain arsenic. Ugh. So again, it goes deeper than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, so another major cause of many health issues is heavy metal toxicity. And glutathione is a very powerful way to actually detoxify these heavy metals from the cells in the body safely and effectively.
Okay, so the other thing is it is the most powerful protector of the immune cells. So if you look at the pecking order in the body, so to speak, here is a picture of a cancer cell being attacked by an immune cell. Now, we're not saying for 1 second we're curing or preventing a disease, but we're just showing you a fact. That's what happens. The immune cells on a daily basis attack a cancer cell. What protects the immune cell? Glutathione. So again, all roads tend to lead back to the master antioxidant being glutathione in the body. It's also the most powerful fighter of cellular inflammation. Now, the obvious cellular inflammation is what you see on the screen here, that achy joint and pain and so forth. But again, it goes a bit deeper than that, doesn't it?
Yes, so one of the things I found very interesting was one of our scientists held a doctor symposium, and there were over 500 doctors present in the room. And the question was asked to these doctors, can anyone tell me the name of any chronic disease that does not start with cellular inflammation in the body? And not one doctor raised their hand. So you can see, how significant this is. And it really surprises me that glutathione is so critical for our health, yet there are still several doctors that have never even heard of this.
Absolutely. So a lot of people watch this presentation and they might say, yeah, I'm okay though. I eat the right vegetables and I walk and run every day and I do all exercise. That's great, but it is a fact that glutathione loss is completely unavoidable by everyone. Why? They say it's a fact that your glutathione levels drop 10 to 12% per decade in most individuals. So one of those things that makes it drop is aging. So if you can work out how to get around that one, let me know. Stress. We're seeing stress on the increase, as we said, and that impacts your glutathione levels. Inflammation. So again, that has a big impact. Sun exposure. Now here in Melbourne, we don't see much of the sun, but when we do, we try and get out there and get a bit of vitamin D, and we're having an impact on our glutathione levels in a negative sense. Some people watching this presentation may be involved in some type of exercise, and that's great. But unfortunately, that doesn't prevent you from losing glutathione. In fact, 40% of the body's available glutathione stores are burnt in the first 10 minutes of aerobic exercise. So if anything, you need it more. Sleep deprivation. I'm sure if you've got children, you know what I mean. Environmental toxins, we've covered that off, I think, brilliantly already. Medications. You go to the doctor, they give you something to improve your health because maybe you're not well. Unfortunately, some medications deplete your glutathione levels as well. Now, trauma, you see a lot of that.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of people on a daily basis, working with deep trauma. And of course, this decreases their glutathione levels. But something else that I observed from a practitioner's perspective for myself is I sit in the vibration of other people's trauma day in, day out. And this, of course, was impacting my glutathione levels as well.
Yeah. So smoking is another one. I don't even want to go into this one, but everybody knows there is so many chemicals involved in smoking. Alcohol, I'm sure nobody does that one, but that has an impact on your glutathione levels as well. And of course, belly fat. Often belly fat is there because your body is trying to take those toxins and store them in the body away from all the vital organs. If you can get glutathione increased, it can help detoxify some of those things as well. So glutathione loss is unavoidable. Now, low glutathione levels have now been linked to over 74 different diseases. Now, you can see this on the screen. If you Google glutathione and almost any disease known to man, you'll see some link from thousands of doctors' websites around the world saying the same thing. So here, interesting on this page, autism. You've had some experience with that.
Yes, so in my field of work, I'm privileged to work with a lot of children, and one of the things that I'm seeing a significant increase in is the amount of children that are actually being diagnosed with conditions like autism, ADD, ADHD. And in some of the recent Harvard studies, they said that brain inflammation and a build-up of toxicity are some of the major factors in these conditions. So these little ones are having a lot of trouble processing this overload of toxicity in their bodies.
Yeah, interesting. So this list on this screen isn't exhaustive. The next screen here shows a whole heap more. In fact, the two here, chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, you personally had experience with this?
I did. And again, unfortunately, I'm seeing an increase in diseases like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And these conditions can often be caused as a result of the trauma placed on the body from other chronic illnesses or viruses, which again can also lead to low glutathione levels.
And the list goes on. You can see all types of hepatitis on the screen here and infections.
Yes, so chronic viral infections are also associated with low glutathione levels, and as we age, we're more prone to developing viral and bacterial infections. And glutathione allows the immune system to function optimally and triggers our defense system in our body that destroys these viruses, bacteria, and even cancer cells, so it's really vital.
The ones on this screen really interest me because I remember watching a 60 Minutes program relating to Parkinson's disease and what doctors were doing there. You've seen some research on that too.
Yeah, so when I was researching the effects of glutathione for one of my clients who suffers from Parkinson's disease, I came across some studies where they were working with a group of people with Parkinson's. They asked them to walk down a hallway, turn around and come back, and you could see that they were really, really struggling with their just basic bodily functions and mobility, and in particular turning around and coming back. So they took them aside and they worked with them. They gave them 30 minutes of intravenous glutathione and then asked them to do the same activity, walking down to the hallway, turning around and coming back. And the difference that I noticed in this was absolutely astonishing.
Another one that grabs my attention on the screen there is progeria, and I didn't really even know what that was until I did some research, but that's where you see children who look really old, really fast, and it reminds me of another study I saw that talked about centenarians, that is those people who are over 100 years old. And what they found was interesting, that most centenarians, their glutathione levels were actually the same as those that are around their 20s. So if you're lucky enough to keep your glutathione levels up, you might be one of those people. So what are the benefits of raising glutathione then? Well, there's many benefits, and the list here is not exhaustive, but it increases energy. That's the first thing I noticed. Strengthens the immune system. Haven't had flu now for 4 years. Reduces inflammation. We sort of covered that. Improves mental focus and clarity. A lot of people talk about their brain fog going away. Detoxing liver and cells. Nicole's covered that beautifully. Reduces the effects of stress. Improves your deep REM sleep. And of course athletic performance and recovery. Now, I'm not an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but we do have a link you can see at the end from world-class athletes breaking world records having raised their glutathione through this amazing breakthrough. So what can you do to boost your glutathione levels? Well, I wanted to start with this picture on the screen because I'm a big advocate. We eat healthy, don't we? We're organic all the time.
Absolutely.
And we walk every day, so we do everything right. And of course eating vegetables is going to have an impact, but only a small impact. So we've got to be real about it. In addition to that, this shows you what does rank on the graph, and let's take a pointer out for this one. If we start at the left, ice water. What does that mean? Not drinking it, swimming in it. And we don't mean Melbourne, we mean, Norway, ice cracking on the top. And you can have a minute impact, more than the veggies, but not much. Whey protein was a long time ago one of the biggest breakthroughs, but it's since been outdated. Lipoic acid, milk thistle, SAMe gets better. There's a whole book I've seen written on this one. N-acetylcysteine was the gold standard, NAC for short. Problem is, it would take 8,000 milligrams to get an 80+% increase in glutathione in your body. Most people don't want to do that because that's 16 capsules, which means you sort of rattle. So our breakthrough, which you're going to hear about in a minute, the first breakthrough, maxg was proven to raise glutathione levels by about 270%. So as you can see, nothing comes anywhere near the results. So our breakthrough products that we're going to go through now are proven to do a few things. Firstly, they give every single cell of the body exactly what it needs to produce and maintain optimum levels of glutathione. So a really important point I need to cover right now, and if you haven't paid attention to anything, make sure you pay attention to this part. Our products contain 0 glutathione. Now, you just heard us talking about the benefits of raising glutathione, the 74 different diseases that are linked to low glutathione levels. Why is that? Well, because unfortunately, your body cannot absorb glutathione. So it's a clinical fact that the molecule of glutathione is too large to penetrate the cell wall. A bit like trying to get a bus through a keyhole. It's really not going to happen. So oral glutathione supplements, unfortunately, get destroyed in the stomach. So there's no clinical evidence at all that will do anything for you. Now, doctors know this, and as Nicole mentioned earlier with, say, Parkinson's disease, intravenous glutathione is now around, but it's expensive, and it's also, the benefits are very short-lived, which is a downside. So that leads me now to the Max breakthrough, and let's talk about this world-breaking event, I suppose, to get these products out. So one vision, two great scientists. These two gentlemen, Dr. Herb Nagasawa and Dr. Robert Keller, are the brainchilds behind these amazing products. They had a common vision which says they were all about improving intracellular wellness without the restriction of a prescription. But there's more to these gentlemen, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I really love that. I mean, not only are these two gentlemen amazing leaders in their field, but they're also humanitarians. So they really, really have that common vision for humanity.
Absolutely. So let's look at their background. Firstly, Herbert T. Nagasawa, 32 years, the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry, 165 peer-reviewed published articles, and he was also the creator of the 3-minute cyanide antidote. So in the scientific community, and when 9/11 happened, they went to the community and said, we need an antidote. Everyone said it couldn't be done. And of course, Herbert T. Nagasawa came back, and the rest is history. Now, the very first breakthrough in our company was due to the late, great Dr. Robert Keller. He was known in his time as one of the top 2,000 scientists of the 21st century, and he was the first person to crack the code in relation to glutathione. He's published more than 100 articles, and I'm going to start with this breakthrough because this is where the journey began. Our first scientific breakthrough formula, which was called maxGXL, we have now the results of a double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover clinical study. Now, this was done in healthy people. So anyone can prove a result in someone who's not healthy, but to do it with everybody who's healthy is quite staggering. So what we found was, with just 60 days use of maxGXL, every single person on the trial had an average increase of 276% in intracellular glutathione. Now, we said before, most people's glutathione is decreasing 10 to 12% per decade. Here we are reversing that. Not only that, they found two other benefits, a 46% increase in DHEA and a 41% increase in IGF-1. You're probably looking at that and going, that's wonderful. What are they? Well, they are markers for adrenal function and human growth hormone. So if they're going down, it's called aging. If they're going up, hang on a sec, that's got to be good. They also found a 61% decrease in a thing called TNF-alpha. And what is that? That is a marker for cellular inflammation. And as Nicole said earlier, cellular inflammation can lead to all sorts of nasties. So if you want to read the full clinical studies, or you want to watch some videos from doctors or sports people, if you go to extramaxinfo.com, you can get all of that information, particularly if you are a medical professional watching this presentation today, or maybe a practitioner. So what I really love is to see the very early results from Dr. Robert Keller's clinic. His research was amazing. Here on the slide we have people in his clinic from the first group on the left who had no known health challenges. The one on the next one, number 2, people with HIV. The next one with chronic viral illness, and finally those with hepatitis C. So as you can see with the healthy individuals, their glutathione levels before and the glutathione levels after taking maxGXL, massive difference. Look at this though, people who had HIV, you see the levels before are lower than a healthy individual. This proves what we're saying, that glutathione levels get affected by illness. But you can see after taking the maxGXL, the results were quite good. And here's the interesting one. 2 months after taking the product and stop taking the product, the glutathione levels are still higher than before, but still lower than when they're taking it. What does it say? Well, 2 things. Firstly, the Max product helps your body teaches it how to recycle glutathione for itself, which is great. That's why it's such an amazing breakthrough. Plus, it shows you that if you stop taking the product, your glutathione levels will eventually get back to the way they are, so that you'd want to keep taking the product, no doubt, for the health benefits. And you can see the same sort of result with the chronic viral illness and Hep C. Really interesting to see. Now, that was the start of the journey for us, being the leaders in glutathione research worldwide. But the next step for us was when we got contacted by the world's leading authority in glutathione, Dr. Herbert T. Nagasawa. Now, he is the brainchild behind ribosine. What's ribosine? Well, it has 25 years of research. It is 300% more effective than the next best, and it has 38 patents and patents pending, with 20 peer-reviewed published clinical articles, and it is exclusive to Max. We're really happy to say that Herbert T. Nagasawa loved our program so much that he has allowed us to acquire this exclusively, and you will never see ribosine in any other product worldwide other than through Max International. That led us to our latest scientific breakthrough, Cellgevity. Now, the person who invited you today, no doubt, will offer you a sample, if you're lucky, of Cellgevity, and you want to get hold of some really fast. The primary ingredient is ribosine, and as I said, it outperformed all other glutathione enhancers by at least 300%. And it also has what we call release-on-demand technology. What does that mean? Well, people are familiar with nutritional supplements that have time release, which means you take it and through the day it'll gradually sort of dissolve into the body. Well, release on demand means that the ingredients store in the cells, and we've had a lot of athletes that have broken world records who say all of a sudden my endurance just kept going and going, and that's because the cells could draw upon the ingredients when they needed it, which is, again, groundbreaking. All of these other ingredients, you may have seen some before, they're all brilliant and they are really there to enhance the overall process, but they are really the support act to the primary ingredient, ribosine, which is doing most of the work. Now, I love these slides, and as a practitioner, I'm sure you do too.
Yes, this really impressed me when I saw these slides, and for those of you that love scientific proof, you will love these. So when you look at the slide on the left, you'll see what healthy cells look like under live blood analysis. When you look at the cells on the right, this is what unhealthy, deficient, toxic cells look like. So you'll notice that they're all clumped together and sticking to each other. So when this occurs, it reduces the available surface area for the cells, which creates less available oxygen, and it really creates a much harder job for our body. So we end up with more toxins flowing through our bloodstream, and of course this is circulating through all of our major organs and cells in the body.
So this slide's fantastic, because if you needed evidence on this product working...
Yeah. So these images, these were taken, Scott was a healthy individual, and this live blood analysis was taken from Scott before taking our product Celgevity, and then 15 minutes after taking our product. So this is really incredible. And you know, we were saying before, we eat organic food. I'm pretty much vegetarian. I exercise every day. I meditate every day. But unfortunately, due to the stress and it's placed in our body and the level of unhealthy toxins that we're exposed to, even the healthiest of people need support to increase their body's natural levels of glutathione.
Absolutely, and staggering results there for Scott. So today you're hearing from me. I sit on the Field Advisory Council, and you're hearing from Nicole, a natural therapies practitioner. But you know, we have a lot of people involved with us at the highest level of scientific and medical backgrounds, and we have a medical advisory board. One of the people on that board is Dr. Don Colbert, and I love this example because he's written an amazing book called Toxic Relief, and he is double board certified in family and anti-aging medicine. He's a New York Times bestseller with 10 million copies of that book sold, treated over 50,000 patients, and he's been featured on almost every network you can think of. I love his quote because he says, "We now have, I believe, the best antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and detoxifier and anti-aging supplement that there is out there." Now, to hear that from someone who's actually in the medical field is brilliant feedback. So if you want to buy these products direct at wholesale price, you can do so. As we wrap up, before we get to that, let's just give a little bit of our backgrounds on what we experienced when taking the products. What happened for you when you started taking Max GXL?
So I started taking Max GXL when the product first came out, and at that time, it was no coincidence, it was perfect timing for me because I was going through some big changes in my life. I had 3 family members in hospital all at once. I was running a busy practice, managing a lot of practitioners. So my immune system became run down, and I just had to do the best I could at the time. But that left me really, really struggling on a daily basis with my energy levels, with brain fog, and just incredible tiredness and fatigue. And when I started taking the product, I noticed immediately a result within about 30 minutes for me taking the product, and it significantly increased my energy levels, lifted the brain fog, and got rid of my body's aches and pains. So it was really profound for me.
Yeah, and since then, of course, you now do recommend these products to all of your clients, don't you?
Absolutely.
So from my perspective, I didn't have any health challenges. I was given this product without much instruction, was told to take it. I took it at 7 o'clock at night. Would have been fine, but unfortunately, in my case, the product kicked in about 45 minutes later, and I had all this energy at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, and I was, wanting to clean the house in the middle of the night, which was weird because I hate cleaning the house, don't I? The next morning I took it at about 9:30, and by 10 a.m. I was so mentally sharp. It was like, wow, what is this stuff? And I came back to the person who introduced me and said, man, get me some more, and the rest is history. Having said that, we then, as I said, increased to the next level of the product in the next generation, being Celgevity, and I've seen even more benefits by taking Celgevity now as well. So we have other products available. I mentioned earlier that we do have world champions breaking world records. This product is what a lot of them are taking. It's called Max ATP. I like to refer to it as the turbo. A lot of endurance athletes talk about endurance, just keep going and going and going. It's an amazing product, and all of these products actually have the NSF certification and the Banned Substances Control Group approval, which WADA goes to. So you can feel safe even if you're an Olympic athlete taking all of our products. So how do you get the products? Well, you cannot buy them retail, but it is free to join as a preferred customer and buy via a Max associate. So you can buy at wholesale price. Max GXL, to give you a cost comparison here in Australia, Max GXL is $95, Cellgevity is $120. Having said that, we've said earlier that with the double-blind placebo-controlled test, we know that the products work within about 60 days on everybody, 100% of the people, full stop. So what we've done is we've put a program together called the Max 90-Day Challenge. How it works is if you commit to a minimum of 90 days consumption of the product, you get a discount. So Max GXL on the left goes down from $95 to $75. Cellgevity goes from $120 down to $95. So orders are sent directly to your door. You don't have to deal with the person who introduces it to you or get any product from them. It's a set and forget automatic shipment. You can cancel any time. But we even have a 30-day money-back guarantee because we know that the product works. So at this point in the presentation, I'm sure you may have some questions that need answering. So if you want to do a bit of a Q&A, we'd suggest that you get back to the person who sent you this link and have your questions answered. Having said that, where to from here? You're probably thinking one of three things. Either want to learn more, maybe you want to trial it, or maybe you want to share it. So in terms of learning, there are more information available in plenty of ways. We talked about the extramaxinfo.com link. But you know what? There's even some presentations by world-class athletes for the sports people. We have a video conversation with a couple of doctors you can go to if you want scientific sort of background. Plenty of links you can get off the person who sent you this presentation. Get onto a phone call with them and have your questions answered, and they'll refer you to the links. So if you want to learn, that's fine. You may want to trial it, and that means you may want to become a preferred customer or get onto the 90-day challenge. And if you want to do that, again, just get back to the person who recommended it to you and tell them you want to do a trial. Perhaps you want to share it. What does that mean? Well, we have a family and friends program. You might have been watching this presentation and saying, I've got so many friends and family members that could benefit from these amazing products. Well, if you recommend your friends and 3 people purchase the same product, you get yours completely for free. Or you may want to delve in deeper and find out about the business behind the breakthrough. We're not here to talk about that today, but just in wrapping it up, it's worthwhile letting you know that Greg Norman has now become the Master Max Associate worldwide with exclusive rights to promote this, as well as Chuck Norris, who is now the Ambassador worldwide for Max International. And there are lots of mums and dads and high-end medical practitioners and also natural therapies practitioners like Nicole, and even people from the corporate world like myself that have got the word out about this product, and in my case, walked away from a 6-figure corporate income as a result of the word of mouth. So if you want to find out about that, we'd suggest what you do is you get back to the person who sent you to these links and tell them you want to learn more, trial it, or share. It's been a pleasure presenting with you, Nicole.
And you, thank you.
And we look forward to speaking to all of you when you turn up at the next function. All the best.